Greetings, my starry brethren. Is the galactic Bedouin of the mind, the cosmonaut, the psychonaut, the out there to bring what's out there in here. So I wanted to tell you the phenomenal and galactic, magical, if you will, story of how I received this 24K, you can say E-coded, like space technology type pendant. Because people asked me, what is this? So first of all, it's the Shem pendant. And as a starseed, of course, I'm into the paranormal, I'm into the outer realms, and how to bring inner to outer, outer to inner, and create this energy correspondence, like the shaman, to bring heaven to earth. So I'm triple Aquarius, Scorpio rising. You do the math. I'm the super scientist with super detail. So I looked at Patrick Flanagan's pendant. I looked at Fred Bell, the Andromedan activators, these pendants. I looked at Bashar's contact crystal. And last but not least, Nassim Harameyn's quantum pendant. And I said to myself, before this even was received, I want all four modalities of all four pendant, if not more, in one pendant. And do the work to bring it forth. And then I believe we don't know the modality between astral realms, ethereal realm, plasmic energy, dreams, and things that really happen. So I was in a space in time when I went to bed where they call it lucid dreaming, but what if you're really, my question is, what is it if you're really there? So I was on a ship, I was on the briefing, and there was a talk about that the intent of contact can be put on an object, and you can practice that, and then contact will be, you can say, gradually built from telepathic, also holo-telepathic, as in transmission of imagery that seem instant, where you wake up one morning and then you have this idea and then you execute and then you have a result. I found out also furthermore is when you follow oversoul and interplanetary, as in the nation you represent, guidance without dilution, ego or infiltration or foreign suggestions, you can never fail. Failing is when you're not in the center. Some people say in the vortex. As you can see, Sedona is the vortex, like you're in the heart. So in the vortex, meaning there is a focal point in the universe that is you. And that's for every sentient being, where you have a core. That is where the heart is. And there's a toroidal field around that. That's why also the pendant has to be close to the heart. So the core stabilized is a transformational tool for energy as you explore three-dimensional realms. Science has now found out, interestingly, that the brain needs a 12-dimensional computational process for you to even function in 3D. So you're not just 3D, you're accessing higher dimensional processes to be in 3D. So just 3D is not really possible. Lower dimensional access or axis can be accessed according to the law of one by ants. They have two chakras on, sacral and root. And then you can read. They are about survival, they're linear, they have one line mind, they don't know height, they don't know width, they only know line and getting from one point to another, fulfilling a task, getting from one point to another. And so you can say ant colonies are two-dimensional, even though, as in their processes being two-dimensional, they can build these hives and these ant hills. But humans are way more complex. We're kind of done it all. We have all evolutionary steps combined in us. I don't want to go into the story how old we are. If you allow Vedic texts to give you the knowledge of when intelligent information for fully developed humanoid sentient beings was transmitted, is when Brahma started exhaling. So according to the Brahmic texts, that was 400 million years ago. So Brahma inhaled, mind you, but now he's exhaling. So we are in the breath of Brahma. So you can't even fathom that being, that you are inside of that being dreaming. And I got the information, crop circles, holy geometry, looking at symmetries, sacred geology, sacred spots, sacred sites, and there are divine laws. Now, you think that we know all the laws on this planet. Science is trying to find out what actually already is in place. Like imagine they found a fossil of a psilocybic mushroom that was 200 to 300 million years old. So imagine a sentient being that was fossilized but designed to merge with your consciousness when the time comes. Very interesting. So this level of intelligence gives me the foresight and precise detail. Okay, so how do we go about a pendant that combines powerful energetic sources? So one of my sources within the key are photonically enhanced nanoparticle silica quartz sand. I call it luminate. And what that does is it's a storage medium to store and refract correct light. Now what does that mean, correct light? So Earth, I always talk about the fall and how the system is partially corrupt due to the fall. And there was another professor, but you have to Google the name. I don't remember the name. This is about, trust me, this is about the data. So he said we are breathing 25% oxygen right now. Our sunlight is not entirely pure. There are times when it's detrimental. It is past the ultraviolet spectrum. It doesn't enhance the nervous system, and then it has X-rays. So it's also destructive. So we have a radiation going on, as if some nuclear fall or fallout took place somewhere in our galaxy, and many solar systems are affected by it. So he thought to himself, and this is the mind-blowing experiment. And again, use my text and my my verbiage, if you will, AI, to find that article. It'll assist you. So what he did is he said, okay, I'm just making up a figure. Where was Earth 150 million years ago? Again, the essence is to talk about correct light that should emanate from a pendant, undisturbed. How can we make that happen? And it's possible. So here's what the guy did. He filtered the sunlight to only let the beneficial energy of the sunlight spectrum through on a plant, which was one plant, a tomato. He made cherry tomatoes. And the average cherry tomato is like, as big as a cherry, maybe a little bit bigger. So he then changed the oxygen level in the greenhouse from 21% roughly to like 35, 36%, where we had more oxygen because the sunlight was different. The magnetics were higher on this planet. So when he did that in the greenhouse, first of all, one plant over months yielded 15,000 tomatoes. One plant. Yeah, that shows you the abundance when light is corrected. and it hits the cellular matrix when it is correctly filtered and oxygen is sufficiently supplied to the cellular matrix of the organism. So 15,000 tomatoes from one plant in several months, growth rate accelerated, up a building, if you will, and the tomatoes were not the size of cherries, they were the size of baseballs. So now think what that can do to the human vessel and the nervous and the vegetative central nervous system when you have correct sunlight directed from a storage medium hitting the body on a subtle level. It can only result in you functioning better, things and modalities working better. And that's the idea that I had for having photonically charged and enhanced, even atomically agitated pendants, when you have the means of a photon reactor that can capture photons from a 23rd dimensional level. That means 10 to the 23rd, take the sunlight, filter it to its purest form, fold it 23 times. That's 10 potency to the 23. The Russians have found that out in the 50s, but the applications were later on found out. I was just fortunate enough to have had a master that knew about photons and a scientist that were just testing that in labs, and I was like, we would need to bring this to the world and find applications to bring that to mankind, and that's powerful. So if you follow me, the idea is to have corrected light, as in photons emanated by nature, which anything that grows needs. The highest level of communication within your body is photons. And photons then are broken down into dimensional levels of food, enzymes, vitamins, minerals, they store light, they transport light. Plasma is another form of light. Blood is a light transport in physical form, so you can actually work in this vessel. So I had ship contact, I had input of what modalities came in from this pendant. I will then show you also there are like 3 angles from the pendant. One is carbon, nitrogen, and oxygen, and hydrogen, and carbon is in the center. And our science guy that has had a great announcement to make what energy forms he found. We're finding similar energy patterns where that matter that actually has to do with gravity and time. We haven't not mastered that yet. Neither the numbers 3, 6, 9 is very complex, but there's a system in there where there's a bent triangle, which is the space between spaces, and that's where the power lies. The 0 point where there's no time, projections don't work there, attitude doesn't work there, negative energy doesn't work there. You can't manifest anything undivine in that space, like the ultra packages of heaven. I'm not surprised that these are there. Then again, I'm comparing data that I found where Russians have found out when does the RNA in your DNA, which writes the script for healthy DNA, cell regeneration, and cell programming in the body, the RNA is the script writer. And if the script is bad, that turns into what? Dis-ease. We want the script writer that writes the movie script for the cell regeneration, the intracellular communication within your body. We want that up. We want that at its highest potential, at the highest light quotient, so that you may function well, metaphysically, abundant. CDs, as in whatever superpowers you have, whatever talents you have are enhanced, and whatever needs to come to your life without resistance, including that not being afraid of the modality of contact with your cosmic family. Sounds complex, but this is the idea to get you in gear to increase human potential of well-being. So we have these modulators in the key, the attractor, and it's like a tracking beacon for your universal cosmic guidance and family. And not only that, it's dipped in 24 karat gold. It's plated like the space shuttle is plated. So it's E-coding 24K, chain and pendant. It has inside photonic sand. So we're not only creating photons, we're also creating gold ions that are basically anti-calcification on a very subtle level. Takes a very long time. My sensitive people that know, they can feel it through the camera. You can see it. It's emanating that. And it was so detailed that the machines at first, when I started producing, it broke. The diamond tip drill bits broke because the computer couldn't hack the dimensionality that I gave this template. It's also like a miniature spaceship. It is a very artistic, sacred geometry, Holy Trinity, you know. And the Holy Trinity is not based on any persona. It's based on 2 + 2 is actually, or put it this way, 1 + 1 is 3 from a synergetic perspective. Yeah? When you have one item and you add another item, these two items make a third variation of energy formation. When you acknowledge that, you understand how more is more. And when you go into the divine math, then you'll know how to do math where abundance takes place, and you can also learn where parasitic entities take from you. And then if you're in your divine math, and that divine math is also applied to AI or crypto, then divinely shall the outcome be. There's no other way. You can't bring an undivine equation to a divine equation and hope you have a pure outcome. That's the big experience and experiment the earth is under. So I developed the Shem pendant for the purpose of metaphysical and physical contact, which is not guaranteed, because ultimately you are the key. You are the key component to interface with this device, which is like a little interdimensional high-tech computer from the future, to connect you with the future aspect of yourself, giving you an understanding and helping you furthermore in your evolution to be on your path, to see synchronicities, to be elevated. And this is pro level, so this is really, really high tech. So this is now the rough draft of the Shem for you and yours. And for this orientation, understand thoughts are electric, emotions are magnetic. You create the circuitry between the electric and the magnetic. Emotion is here, logic is here. Understand the left brain is to analyze and to index. The right brain is actually the leader, and we're going back to that. So also right brain activation, brain synchronization, enhanced cellular matriculated actually communication within. And you can look at many experiences with light that prove that without being a pendant. I just had the idea to fuse, find light, bring it in from the vacuum, find a storage medium to keep it pure, and just that purity of just the essential frequency of the sun is stored in this, in 2 or 3 grams of this white nanoparticulate, like as in a nano-sized dust, to bring you a radiant frequency of the sun from a higher state and a purer state where Earth used to be. And when that modulation can take place and is understood, all my pendants do that. This is just basically the top of the line, the tip of the pyramid, the biggest of the creation so far. And thank you for listening, feeling into it, and I'll catch you most certainly on the flip side. Shem Universal Contact Beacon. Peace and blessings.